As you know, the Northshore Schools Foundation has been joining the national cause to raise awareness around hunger and homelessness in our communities as part of Hunger and Homeless Awareness Week. We're really, really grateful to the people who've been on our interviews. That's been fun. And also to all of you who've started a virtual jar to raise money for our homeless students in the school district. It's very sweet. We think this is like our special day. So Ana Foy is our frontline staff person who works with people who need to be identified as homeless, who are navigating the system in the district. She's like, she's basically like Wonder Woman, and it's a pleasure to have her. We did have to bribe her because she's like, nah, but we're all getting used to our life on Zoom. So today, Heather and I are going to ask her some questions so you can kind of find out a little bit more about how our district, interacts with students, and also what you can do out in the community. See, that's what happens. It's really fun. I know. So, Anna, are you comfortable? You ready for this?
Yes. Thank you for having me, ladies. I really appreciate being part of your team. So thank you.
You're a huge blessing. Okay, so why don't you tell people what you really do, what your real title is, because I feel like when I say Wonder Woman, maybe that doesn't translate. But I'm sure if you start describing what you do, that will.
Well, thanks for the amazing adjective that you're giving me, but I'm only able to do my job because I have an amazing team. You guys are part of that, and as well as everybody at all the school buildings. But I am the Mckinney Vento District Liaison for Northshore School District. And what that means is I get to oversee and assist, support, and help our families who are experiencing homelessness within our district. And that's where the foundation has come in clutch for us with funding. But yes, that is my role, is that I have, like I said, I'm part of a bigger group of counselors and assistant principals and family liaisons and teachers who help identify, who hear, who listen to their students and find out that, wow, I think they may be homeless. And Anna, can you help us with that? And so that is how we try to identify families, because I think people may have an understanding of what homelessness looks like. And it's pretty broad, and we're thankful for the Mckinney Vento program.
Well, I think that's what our first question was really like, can you describe what Mckinney Vento is to people who aren't us, and we're also paying more attention?
Yes, so that is a great question, and I appreciate it, because Mckinney Vento is a federally funded program. And really what it entails, it allows three big things to happen with families who are homeless. One, we identify them. And so we know that automatically a homeless person in our mind would be someone who's in a shelter or a transitional shelter. But that definition also becomes more broad. You may have a family who has now lost their housing because of a job, especially now with COVID. And now they are doubled up with a family member or a friend, or they found a room to rent. But now you have a family that was in a stable housing situation going into a bedroom with 5 kids or with 3 kids. And so that is considered not adequate housing, because now we are having our kids who don't have a place to sleep. They're sleeping on the floor. And so that would be a perfect example of someone who qualifies as homeless. And so that's the first part that Mckinney Vento allows us to have that definition. Second, it gives them automatic free and reduced lunch at the school district. And then the third, and one of the biggest important things that worries parents, is that they feel that if they have the family member that maybe lives in Everett and no longer lives in the Northshore School District boundaries, that they can no longer attend our schools. And so what Mckinney Vento allows is those students, we want them to keep some normalcy, and that allows them to stay within our school district. So when we are learning in our buildings, that allows a student to get transportation from where they are living and continue staying what we call their home school.
That's great. And that, just to be clear, the federal government pays for the free and reduced lunch. Correct. But the school district, Northshore School District, actually pays for the transportation piece.
Actually, that comes from also Mckinney Vento, the federal program. We
I didn't know that.
Ourselves do, correct.
Okay. So what, and then we get involved somewhere along the way, right? That's how we play in.
Correct.
And I just want to add in that currently in this Northshore School District, we have 13 Mckinney Vento drivers that are strictly focused on transporting those students to and from their schools and their homes.
Right. And that is provided by the Mckinney Vento program. Thank you, Heather. That is correct.
Yeah, that's great.
She's smart. Okay, what's next, Heather?
I don't know. I didn't actually print the list off because
Excellent.
Because
Well,
you
then
know
you
me,
ask
but
us.
I guess I am curious, maybe you could share with us, what do you think is one of the greatest challenges to identifying the families? What can we do as an organization to help you and help others? What can the community do to help identify?
So what we try to do is throughout the year when we're getting new enrollment families, we do have them fill out a housing questionnaire to
Okay.
try to find out, you know, what kind of housing do they have? Are they renting? Are they owning? If they do not own and they hit other on our questionnaire, then we follow up with them to find out what does that other mean? And
Okay.
that's where we get an opportunity to ask them,
Okay.
are you living in your car? Are you in a shelter? And so that's how we identify. So that's throughout the year as new enrollments. And then every year at the beginning of the year, when all the parents get that welcome back packet that asks them to make changes, we will ask them again there to fill out the housing questionnaire because we know that housing can change. And we are in a district where rents are very high. And so we are finding families who are starting to double up more. And I think families think that that's not homelessness.
Okay.
So when we start asking those questions of like, well, does every kid have a room? Do you have a room? Do they all have beds? Asking and being very mindful of what housing looks like.
Okay.
Because many times we think like, well, they're in a place. Good. Awesome. But if those basic needs aren't being met, then they show to school not prepared.
Okay. Great. What do you think is the biggest challenge in finding these families? I mean, I guess I often think of it from an emotional mental health perspective and how families are perceived in their own mind about homelessness. And so challenges in coming forward or not wanting to have feelings of shame. And so, I mean, or is it just communication barriers? What do you think? What do you guys see as challenges that we as a community can do to help that?
I think you really hit it there, Heather, is that I think families feel like we're just trying to survive. And if I have a shelter, then I'm not homeless.
Okay.
And so I think their own definition of what homeless looks like. They're not in a tent. They're not living out on the street.
Okay.
And so they think, okay, we're good. But they are still struggling because they are still trying to figure out rent, if they're even being charged for rent for that space. Do they have enough room, enough money for food, for basic necessities for the family? So a lot of times I think they fall into this, we're surviving and we're doing okay, so we're not homeless, when in reality, we can assist them with some help. So it's them coming forward. So many times it could be a child telling a teacher, we had to move in with my uncle or my aunt, or we're no longer living here. And it's that teacher to be really listening.
Okay.
Or a nurse that listened and said, oh, we're no longer there, then to ask those mindful questions.
Okay. Well, I would maybe even, I'm not sure if I'm a community member and I hear this information or I see this information in a Facebook, post, that encouraging that family or those families to share information back to their schools then. Is that, they can contact your counselor or a member of your school and help have them, maybe encourage them for support.
Yes, that's a really great point. When we were in session and we would allow our families, I'll get into that about where the foundation comes in supporting us, but we have given our families an opportunity to go and shop at Fred Meyer or Target, especially for like back to school clothing. And when I go there, many times the cashiers are asking like, so what are you doing? We see you here all the time. And so now they're aware. And so they even know, they're like, well, if I come across or if I ever hear anyone, even with my kids in their school district, now I know what this program is about. So yes, absolutely. If anybody in our community feels that you want more information or you want to refer someone, our information is on northshoreschooldistrict.org. It's under resources. You drop down to homelessness and you could get our contact information.
Okay, great. Thank you.
One of the questions we were talking about on our staff team was, this is such a weird year because kids aren't, I mean, everybody gets free and reduced lunch, or everyone's getting free lunch right now in Northshore, and then they don't need transportation. So we were like, so why would you want to make sure you got registered? What's the advantage to that? And I'd love to have your perspective on that.
Well, we are still offering some kids who are part of the Boys and Girls program or YMCA, because we understand that parents are not all home. We have lots of parents that are still having to go back to work. And so they are utilizing a Boys and Girls program or a YMCA day childcare or school program. And so we will provide transportation to those programs for them.
Okay.
So that's one that we're still providing. We are still providing materials that need to go to our homeless families that may not have transportation, or they may have transportation, but they have kids at home. Everybody's trying to learn online. So we have been delivering laptops and materials that the school is giving out. Like the school has given out the markers for the art, and our homeless family needs those materials. So we are still providing some transportation to our families.
And then when you're enrolled in Mckinney Vento, then that actually allows you access to some of the funds that the foundation gives. I mean, that's one of the things. So 10 years ago, when I started here, I think that was their first year of writing kind of a $5,000 check to make sure that, you know, our department had some money, and it's kind of grown from there. But what kind of, you know, what's that look like for you? What, you know, how does foundation help? How does that make a difference for you?
Well,
For kids?
wow. It's enormous. It really is. I'm fortunate to be able to be with Northshore and to have a foundation, Carmen and Heather. The amount of work that you go and constantly asking for donors, and we're extremely thankful to our donors. I get to participate in Mckinney Vento regional meetings and to hear the things that we are able to provide compared to other school districts who still have the same need that we have. And I'm able to come home and feel I could excel a little bit. You know, I still worry about our families, but to be able to tell them, I could give you a gift card to go get groceries, or you need a winter coat for your child, or the high schooler who wants to do choir but is afraid that's not going to have the money to get the choir equipment, the dress, or the outfit, band, keeping them engaged. Homeless kids are still kids and they're still students. It's their housing situation that is different. And that is it, that's all that makes them different. But they are still, you know, excelling at school, trying to still be extracurricular activities and be involved. And so the foundation has helped us pay for, you know, caps and gowns, a yearbook, the small things, not just in high school, but even in elementary and middle school, allowing them to have their instrument to be part of band. And so those are the things that when a parent calls up and says, you know, what can you help me with? I'm able to say, I could help you pay for maybe a college credit for your child because they're trying to graduate. And so those are the things that bring, I guess, the most joy for me, that I'm able to say that I could help them versus saying, I can't help you, but I will try to find a resource and hope that that resource is available to them.
Well, we're thankful for you and all the stuff you do on the front line to support the families.
Yeah, I am very fortunate and privileged and really honored to work with this population. I know a lot of people are like, you know, it takes a lot. And I will share something a little personal to kind of give our donors an idea, is I feel that I have the ability to have a little bit more compassion and empathy. Growing up, my family was homeless. We were the family that was sponsored to get Christmas gifts. So this is dear and near to my heart. And I hope that every homeless family that I come across, that they always feel that compassion and empathy from me, and that they always know that we're not here to judge, that we're here to help them.
I think, I mean, one of the reasons that I say people should register as Mckinney Vento is so that they get to have you in their life, right? Just your light and your energy and what we believe at the foundation is how can we inspire our teachers and support them and the people who are in the front line so that they can say yes, so that what you do is hard work, right? What Heather does is hard work. It's hard work to be dealing with struggles and all the different things that it's hard. And so the fact that our donors make it possible that you can be like, yeah, here's go get lunch. Like it's just everybody just needs a minute sometimes. And I mean, homelessness is a horrible, it's a huge endeavor to dig out of, and just knowing someone's on your team is pretty powerful.
We are thankful. We want you to know how thankful we are for the foundation and the donors, because you have given a priority to our families who are homeless, our most vulnerable families, and to be able to give them an opportunity to have their kids not worry about it and go and be a student and learn. I hear it all the time from our families. So from all of the homeless families who are out there struggling, we thank you.
You're so sweet. Thank you for saying all those nice things about the foundation. That's very nice. We love it, of course. But really, I wanted our community, Heather and I wanted our community to see your face, to see that there's a person that goes out and does it. One of the things I'm most proud of is that we found a little bit of dollars to give you a few more hours at the beginning of the school year, just to have some more time to identify our families. I mean, I'm like, that's a systematic way to help more kids, right? That's helpful, or I thought so. So it's just cool stuff. I think also just for our community, the foundation's got a couple different pots of money, and Heather's name's on all of them. Thank the Lord for that. But so you've heard about how we've got our basic needs aid, which is for families in crisis, and that's not for homeless families. That's for regular families, any family that gets in a crisis situation. And then we've given each one of our schools a discretionary amount of budget that they can use to support their families as part of our opportunity fund. And then separate from that is we've got a separate set of money for just our Mckinney Vento kids. So there's a lot of different pockets that all end up in the same place, helping kids. And I really appreciate it. And we really appreciate everything our community does. But what I really hope that by seeing Anna and knowing that she's a real person who has the compassion and the heart of servant leadership for sure. If you or friends are experiencing a situation where you don't have your own bed to sleep in every night, that it's worth having a conversation with and seeing if our community can help.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. And I do want our community to know that even though I focus on homelessness, but we are here to help all of our families and all of our students. So even if you may not qualify for homelessness, I will still refer you to any other resources that we may have. And I think all of our staff here at Northshore School District would do the same. So I always say it doesn't hurt to ask. The answer may not always be yes, maybe from the school district, but it could be yes from somewhere else. And so I always even encourage all of my families, like, just ask, because you just don't know if there's another resource that's available.
Yeah.
Can we just talk a logistic question or a basic question? Is that what number do you serve? Like, how many students? We hear a number that could be in the hundreds, and I know it can be difficult to find the families and the community. And so right now we're in and I know numbers are changing with COVID, and we're starting to even see, those numbers will probably continue to rise now with, additional restrictions and what happens come early next year when moratoriums may shift on rent and whatnot. Can you give the community a little idea of how many you're serving right now? How many families are
Yeah,
across the
I would
district?
say within the beginning or the middle of August, with those extra hours that you all gave me, so I could start identifying some of our families and going to some of the shelters to make sure that we had everybody enrolled. We're already looking at 90, and we're only in the middle of November. And
Okay.
typically we will have anywhere from like 180 plus for the entire school year.
Wow.
So Heather, you brought up a really good point that the concern is going to now come December 31st with the moratorium.
Yeah.
The foundation, I'll give an example because I think that was one of the questions, like how do we help? So we came across a family that has been renting a home for 20 years. They have raised and sent all their kids North Shore. They have one, they're still in our district. And they found themselves that the house was being asked that they needed to vacate because the owners now were going to either live in there or sell it. I don't know the details, but they found themselves, we have nowhere to go. They had a friend that allowed them some housing for a couple days. After that, they didn't have anywhere to go. Mom works, single mom, and she found a place, but she needed first month's deposit and last month. And that was a total of $8,000 she was needing to come up with.
Oh my goodness.
In the meantime, she had no place to go. They were going to live in their car. And thank you to the foundation and one of our donors, Chick-fil-A. Carmen and I decided with some of that donation money that we would set some aside, looking ahead, thinking that we would have families that would need some hotel stays. So we put some money aside for hotels. And thank you to Country Inn and Suites, who also another partner. And so we were able to put up that family in a hotel for 6 nights.
Oh.
We got them 2 rooms. Mom said it was the first time the kids were able to separate. They were able to log on to Zoom, because before at their friend's house, they were all in one room trying to all listen to instruction of 3 kids at 3 different levels of schooling. And she just said that the kids were just, they couldn't believe it. They were thankful. Mom was able to find a place, and now they have stable housing. But she needed that week. She didn't know where she was going to go. And so thanks to the foundation and Chick-fil-A, we were able to put her up at a hotel with her family.
It's such a pleasure to work with you, because I think we've been inventing along the way. Okay, like what do you need and how does this work? And the forethought that we had this summer when we were talking about what do we really need, when Chick-fil-A said we want to make a big investment that's going to change the game, and we were like, well, this changes the game. You know, we have accessible. This Country Inn and Suites said absolutely. So they, you know, they're giving us a screaming deal. You know, it's prepaid, so we can immediately move. I think if you've ever worked for an institution before, there was a lot of like, when this stuff would happen, it was a lot of like, okay, you meet me here and I'll bring this card. And then, well, wait, what, who signs that? And like all of that stuff has just been erased, so that Anna's in a place to say, I can help you right now.
Yes.
Right now, you don't have to sleep in your car tonight, which.
And that is very crucial. Absolutely. We've already had 3 families who have taken up our offer at Country Inn and Suites. So it is amazing that I'm able to just call them and say, I have a family coming in, and they're like, send them over.
Makes me cry.
Makes me cry too.
Heather, any final questions? My inquisitive, wondering friend.
I don't know. I'm kind of teary-eyed right now, so I don't know if I have any. I'm just super, super thankful, right? Because I see and hear it too. And so to know that our families have the support is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you,
I better mute myself now.
Anna, I can't say thank you enough. Thanks for taking the time. I know this isn't your favorite love language to do video, but I think it's really important to hear straight from you. You're an amazing person. I love working with you. I love that we're a team. I think that's just, I can't even, I mean, it's just such a game changer. So thank you.
Well, thank you guys again. And you're right. This isn't my favorite. I'd rather be behind the scenes. And again, as I always say, I'm always part of a team. I don't get to do this by myself. And so I am also very thankful for all the staff at all the schools, my nurses who are also in the trenches, and counselors that are working, beyond hours, sometimes calling me like, we have a kid, he's on his own, 16, 17. And so I'm thankful for all of you guys, and very appreciative. And it's a good way to go into the Thanksgiving day next week.
It's true. Lots to be thankful for some of us, and we're going to keep being thankful. Okay, we're going to sign off because we're going to sign off. But I just so appreciate our time. I'm going to, if you need to find any, if you're interested in information, you absolutely can go to the school district, or we did put a post up in our blog on the website that has resources for you and about homelessness. And please just start the conversation. Let's help people. Let's help kids. Thank you, everybody.